hope you're all well. I am trying to record the assignment videos so that you've got a little bit more information about the assignments. Just so you all know, I'm actually using the online chat slides to record these. So they're already available up online for you. Alright, the first one I'm going to talk about is the alternative policing response online discussion about that particular assignment. So, as you know, it's due the end of week 5, Friday the 25th of March, and it's due at midnight because all of my assessments in my units are uploadable online, and I know you guys are really busy and you've probably got jobs, most of you, so I like to give you until midnight to be able to upload that. So it's 1,500 words for the alternative from policing response, and it's weighted at 30%. So what you actually have to do is a fairly simple thing. I want you to be a bit creative with this one. So you need to get online, have a look at Google, see if you can find an example of policing where the policing response that's been used aligns with over-policing or under-policing. Remembering that over-policing might be something like being really violent towards the person, just responding in an over-the-top way, perhaps the person ends up dead as a result of the policing response, that type of thing. So it's pretty straightforward. Under-policing is typically the opposite of that, where the person was hoping for a response but didn't get one from the police. So they feel that the lack of response is quite troubling. I'll give you some examples of those in the second lecture so that you understand exactly what I'm talking about, because they can be a little bit unclear sometimes. The example that you find in a news article or whatever, it can be Australian, so from here, or it can be international, anywhere else in the world. That's entirely up to you. It can be old or new as well. So if you want, you could focus on the Rodney King example, for which there's plenty of material online. So yeah, it's pretty simple. You need to critically discuss this policing response in a short discussion paper, but you need to make a case for a different policing response or style. So imagine yourself as a police officer, you've, maybe a colleague has had this situation. You're talking about this with another police colleague. What might have you done differently? And I want you to think in terms of how you might make your policing response more ethical and less likely to harm the people involved. So what would you have done differently, I guess? You should consider unit ideas, readings, other literature in that process, okay? And of course it needs to be referenced. So you need to follow these steps, using Google to find the news article that you want of that policing response. Make sure you provide the link somehow. You can, do a screenshot of the news article so I know it exists, and then you can copy and paste that into your Word document, or you can provide me with the link to the news article. Make sure you've at least got the name of the news article and where it's from so I know and I can go and have a look at it. Show the reader how your example aligns with over-policing. Read about other alternative policing styles. So go and have a read about, community policing or whatever, and look at how that might have been a better approach. We actually need to see evidence that you've done that in your response. Write it up as a mini essay and of course upload it to Milo. Pretty simple. So you want a nice little structure, intro of about 150 words, outline your example, about 1 paragraph, write about what type of policing that response aligns with, whether it's over-policing or under-policing, and then in about 200 words maximum, describe the alternative policing style that you would have chosen. So that's, making sure that you're drawing on literature and stuff like that. It's pretty important. Discuss how it would produce a more socially just and ethical approach. Now this is your main focus in this piece, and it's going to be about 600 words. So you want 2 to 3 paragraphs for that, okay? So there might be 2 or 3 main ways that your alternative response is going to be a more ethical and socially just way of doing it, okay? So again, you need your literature here. This is really, really important. Making sure you've got paragraph structure that says the foremost way that this approach is going to be more ethical or socially just is because it does blah. Then some nice little evidence sentences, and then a linking sentence. We can clearly see how this approach is more socially just than, killing the person involved. And then you want a nice conclusion of about 150 words, okay? And a little short reference list. There's no real minimum or maximum of this. Keep that rule in mind where you're writing an essay, you want at least one reference per paragraph, okay? It's pretty straightforward. If you do this, you should be okay. I'm very happy for you to email me and get some help with developing this approach for this particular assignment. This could mean that you can check the police response that you've chosen to make sure it's okay. You can check your alternative approach and make sure that's all right. You can check your dot points. So, you might be really worried about whether or not your alternative approach is actually more ethical and more socially just. So I can check that for you. Just, what are your main reasons why they're socially just? You're probably going to have 3 of them. So 3 dot points, I can check those. And you can send those to me in an email. You can send me a dot point plan of the whole thing if you'd like. Yeah, be creative. Don't just tell me about how police shouldn't kill people, right? You actually really need to put a bit of thought and effort into this. And don't tell me that they need to be more heavy-handed either. I'd be hard-pressed to find, if you Googled and had a look at the internet responses that are talked about out there on the internet about police, you'd be hard-pressed to find 70 or 80% of them which are positive. Most of the stuff we see talked about in the media is going to be negative in some way or another. So if you've got a negative policing response where the person is bashed up or whatever, and then you come back to me and say, well, they actually needed to be more heavy-handed with this person and shoot them dead, then I'm going to be saying, I don't think that's socially just or ethical, so you're probably going to fail. So just bear that in mind, people. Read your criteria sheet. We're going to go through that in the online chat with you, okay, so that you've got more understanding about how to use this piece of material in your unit. I write my criteria sheets so they are more or less a checklist of things that you need to do in your assignment. So when you get to the end of your assignment, you can look at it and go, okay, so here's my criteria. Yes, I had a good introduction. Oh, look at that, I did have 5 references. Oh, look, I also had this. So make sure you do that when you're writing your response. Provide the link to the article, or you can take a screenshot, as I said before. That was a bit random. Some questions to get your ideas going. What might be a better way of doing policing than the example that you found? Okay, that's pretty important. Can ideas from international policing examples be applied? So again, I'll go through a few examples in the online chat for you, and you can already find those slides up online to have a look at. So, the situations where they're building relationships with young people in PCYCs, or they're making relationships better with Baltimore police by having young people train the police around what the issues are for young people. So the whole bunch, there are literally thousands of examples that you could use for this. How can your new policing response cause less harm? Very important stuff. How can your response be more socially just and ethical? In terms of aligning with democratic policing principles, a lot of people, a lot of academics are now talking about democracy in relation to policing and how we can make policing more socially democratic. You could easily find 5 articles on this, and this could be your approach for saying this is a more socially just and ethical approach because it aligns with democratic policing in these 3 ways. All right, I'm giving you big hints here, people. So think about it carefully. So I'll go through some really specific examples. They're already there on the PowerPoint slides for you. I might even see if I can put up some more stuff online. It's just I need more time. I probably won't get that until next week. Go through the criteria sheet and remember how you structure an essay. You've got to have a good introduction. You've got to then have your body, which is your series of paragraphs that talk about, you know, how it's more socially just or ethical, how it represents an example of over-policing, for instance. And then you want to have your conclusion. And remember, I always put examples of these into your online chat slides, and we talk through them in the online chat. That's pretty much it for this one, guys. I hope that was helpful. If you've got any questions, don't hesitate to send me an email. See you later.